Hi, it's Jamie with JamiesArtsaLaCartes. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I wanted to share 3 more Cricut projects with you, customizing some gift ideas. Okay, so let's get started. The items that we'll need today to complete today's projects will be, of course, your Cricut to cut things, Cricut mat. You'll need, I'm going to use vinyl. You can use HVT, you can use iron-on, but today, for what we're doing today, will be premium vinyl. I'm using the permanent because I'm going to put it on, with the items that I'm going to put it on, permanent will work best. We'll need our handy-dandy ruler, scissors, pen for marking or pencil, and then I like these 2 Cricut tools. One is your weeder and one is the Cricut tweezers. Both come in handy every time I work on a Cricut project. And then the Cricut scraper, made perfect for what we do with these projects. Okay, so and then our bases, what we're going to put everything on. We're going to actually, let me move this out of the way. We're going to actually create 3 different projects. So one will be a coffee travel mug. We'll create 4 tumblers. In the South, we'll call them sweet tea tumblers. And we'll put monograms on there. I want to teach you how to do a split monogram. And then we have these cupcake holders. Aren't they cute? I'm going to put happy birthday on those. Alright, let's set up our Cricut mat. So I've already laid one sheet down. So something I wanted to share, I'm not sure if you knew, that you could put different color product materials on a single mat. So I will have the happy birthday here, and I'm going to flip this around just so I can do it right, sorry. I will line it up in the corner. It's brand new off the roll, so it's going to give me grief, but that's alright. So I'm going to line it up corner to corner and try to lay down my edge and then lay it down. And I'll show you when we're in design space how I can use this top corner for registration of these items that we're going to cut. And then I'm going to use this corner as registration, which is telling Cricut where I want it to go for this product. Alright, I'll meet you over at the computer. So here we are in our Cricut design space, and this is basically where we'll design our projects for today. Let's start off with our happy birthday. So we'll add a text and we'll type in happy, and I want to be 2. Oh, isn't that lovely? I used that last time. And then we'll put another text box and we'll put in birthday. Gotta click in the box for it to work. And then we'll move them so we can see them. That's a font that I had gotten. And it is cute, but not what we're going to use today. So we'll come over here. Let me do that again. So if I want to change the font, I come over here to font. I can make it all kinds of fonts. The style beside it, you can do regular, bold, italics, or bold and italics, your size, your spacing for letters, your line spacing, alignment, a lot of tools up there that should be familiar to you if you've done any kind of word processing. So up here, all is just what it means, all fonts available. System fonts, Cricut fonts. System will be anything that comes free with the Cricut or anything that you've maybe loaded yourself. So I'm looking for something, I think I want this one for today. Yeah, I like that. So that's called Georgia. Let's find Georgia again. And here we go, happy birthday. So we have 3. So do we like the size? So we had to measure the size. So we wanted it to be on the top. I measured, that's why we need the ruler. We want it to be 3 by 5. So it's 2 by 5. So what we can do is we can this right here wouldn't, okay, let me show you. So if you decided you wanted to make the size, which is right up here, 2, it would automatically tell you what that could be. But what we're going to do is we're going to take this off and we're going to go, we want it to be 5 by 2 and nice and big. And then this one, we want to keep it the same height. So what do? We put 2. So we're going to take that block off. We want that to be 2. We want this to be 7. And hit enter. And there you go. So those are for our birthday, or for our cupcake holders. And you can come here and you can hit duplicate and duplicate, and there we are. Easy peasy. Okay, now let's hide those for right now. Let's go ahead and create a split monogram. So we'll start with the text box. Move it up here where we can see it easy. Let's make it big so we can see it. In a true project, you could always resize it to however, whatever you needed for your project, whatever size. So next, you will put in the shape. And it's basically how big you want what you're going to put in. So see, if you do this, it makes it stay true, a true square. If you come down here to this little lock, you can turn it into a rectangle. I want to give myself enough room. So now you've got your shape and you've got your letter. Select both and then come down here where it says slice and slice it. And the most ornery part is trying to figure out what you want to take away. So we want that to go away. We want that to stay. There we go. So basically, the little eyes over here, you'll just pick until you take away what you want. So now, to give it a little bit of extra, we're going to give it just a little bit of oomph. I like to border that name that I'm going to put in here. So basically, I like to make it the width of the letter. So I'm following the outside edge. And then I'm going to duplicate it so I don't have to figure out that size again. Come down here and let's see if it gives me, is that enough? No, I don't really like that. So this is one thing that makes this easy. We can go in and make it just a little smidgen smaller. Duplicate that. And I'm using my grid lines to line it up. And there's our split monogram. So now let's put the rest of it in there. I have good friends named William, so this is a shout out to my friends, Mr. and Mrs. Williams. Be nice if I spelled their name right. Alright, so now let's go see if it fits. Oh, look at that. What do you know? Alright, so one thing you'd want to do after that is you'd want to select everything again and come down over here to where it says flatten. And it sort of groups them all together. But this is something you can undo because now that I've done that, I can see that my bottom line is off just a smidge. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to just push it over just ever so slightly. Come back in, flatten it again, and there we go. Alright, that is how you create a split monogram. I'm going to cut everything and then I'll meet you back over at the work table. Okay, so we're back at our work table and we've got our items cut out. And the easiest way that I found to remove vinyl from your cutting mat is to turn it upside down and pull it apart. And of course I'm using the blue, which is a light grip. Makes it easier. It curls, but not from pulling it off. That's still from the roll. And then our next one. And there we go. Easy peasy. We'll set that over to the side. The next thing I like to do is to cut out my items, make them in a more manageable size. And just sort of cut them apart. These are rather simple designs, but they'll be effective. They'll look really pretty on this red container, this copper color. So a couple tips that I'd like to just reinforce and share is Cricut is really good about putting these grid lines on the back, and so is Oracle. But I use these with my ruler, so if I had a design and I needed it to be 4 inches by 3 inches, I would just come to preferably the factory edge, but that doesn't always work. But I would mark my 4 and then mark 3. Obviously this is just for a demonstration, but what I do is I would know to cut on this line. And that really does help when it's curling to give a visual there. And in a true project I would probably do a double mark just to make sure that my line was completely straight, but you get the idea. And then I would cut this out along the lines. So that's a good tip right there. Use your grid lines when you can. We'll keep cutting these apart for the front. And I'm hoping to be able to use the negative space on these cutouts, as you'll see here in just a minute. Alright, so to peel these, doesn't matter. So if you have a nice white edge like this, it's real easy. Let's see if we'll be able to salvage the negative. Maybe, maybe not. And see, I'm just gently coaxing that off the backing. Just gently pulling it. Try to do double duty with my cutouts. You can see how you can sort of manipulate those back. My B was a little short, but that might look good on, specializing for a grandson or something, maybe a gift. You can use the transfer paper, or I just use contact paper. Inexpensive. I use a lot of it, so inexpensive is good. So I would take it and I would basically, to save this negative, what I would do, and of course I would trim it all the way around, but to save it while I'm working on my other project, I just get a rough idea. I know it's about there, and again, this is good because it has these lines that are very beneficial. So basically, I don't want to put my ruler there, so I'm just going to fudge it here a little bit. I'm going to give it a scooch more, and I know it goes down to, say, about there. And then just like when you were doing geometry in school, I'm going to find where they meet. Now the good thing is that I can still use both sides of this, but what I'm going to do is I'm literally going to just from the center out stick it down. Didn't quite get it all the way over, but watch, not a big deal. Not a big deal. I went over too far on that side. And again, this is just trying to salvage it for a future use. And boom. And you can always move that over. And then even when I pull apart the negative of the B's, I can put it in there, and the D and the A. So let's go ahead. Let's try that. So basically you're just going to catch it with your weeding tool. You see why I like that now. And then we'll come over here and we'll place it about where we think it should go. Again, this, with what I put it on the contact paper, I'll be able to use that at a later date. And there's the bottom. The I won't, but we can get the D and the A. So this would look nice on a white butcher paper package. Definitely would make the recipient feel special, I would think. And we look at how that is lined up there. See how it's straight? So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to just sort of make it straight. And we'll move that around. Alright, so let me get to weeding the rest. I'll save those. Let me cut several of those so we just have them on hand. Now that I know what I'm going to be using, let's just, and I use my tools to help lay down the curly. And contact paper is pretty forgiving. So we know. We'll take it to about there. Never throw away the little pieces because they come in handy in a pinch. So there's for the next one. So one thing I forgot to share is before I ever started the project over there in Design Space, before I started it here, before I cut anything, I go to Design Space and I try to get an idea of how big I want to make my wording, my letters for this project. So what I did is I took my object and I took my ruler and I fiddled with sizes over in Design Space until I came up with what I thought would be large, look good but still have an edge because the edge will be what's touched most, and here. So that's how I designed it to begin with. So to recap on our projects for today, we created 3 customized gifts from our tea glasses where we did our split monogram, to our cupcake holders. You can see I used 2 different, I put this one on a slight angle. Probably will add maybe some cupcakes here. Made this one completely straight, centered. And then our coffee travel mug. So we have the metal and then the 2 different plastics. We used our Cricut premium vinyl, so this is permanent. This will help in the durability. You'll be able to hand wash these items and they should last a good long while. We saved our negative space for future projects. So I hope this, that you enjoy these projects. I hope this will inspire you to create something for someone that you care about in your life. And until next time, I hope you have a wonderful day and happy crafting.